It was a cold winter night, and light snow was falling. The Thanksgiving party was at its peak at Andrew Parker's house in a posh area of New York. The sounds of laughter and cheers echoed in the luxurious mansion. The house was lit up. Guests came in expensive suits and dresses, and sumptuous wines and turkeys were being served at the table. Andrew was a successful doctor who made his life on the basis of his hard work. His beautiful wife, Catherine, was also present at the party, as charming and confident as ever. They had been married for 20 years, and on top of that, everything seemed perfect. But something had changed in Andrew. He was beginning to doubt his wife. Catherine's behavior had been strange for a few days. She was often busy on the phone for hours, sometimes not coming home until late at night, and kept a distance from Andrew. But tonight, she was about to suffer a setback that would change her entire life. Everyone at the party was laughing and joking. Andrew picked up his glass of wine and looked at his wife. "Catherine, tell me, what are you thankful for on Thanksgiving?" Catherine replied with a light laugh, "Nothing, especially in the bedroom." Laughter erupted throughout the room. The guests burst out laughing, some banged on the table, and some made fun of them by putting their drinks on the side. Andrew's face turned white in an instant. His wife had made fun of his masculinity in front of everyone. He saw that Catherine was laughing, and David Jackson, who was sitting next to him, was smiling too. David, his son's, basketball coach. Andrew's eyes went straight to David's face. He felt comfortable, as if he didn't care. "That's a joke, Catherine," said one of the friends, laughing. Andrew's blood boiled, but he controlled himself. He knew something was wrong. On the night when the guests left, Andrew's wife still had the same fake smile on her face. But now Andrew needed an answer. Without saying anything, he went to his study room and opened the bottle of wine. Was he really kidding? Or was it something else? His mind was full of questions. He checked Catherine's call log with his phone. David Jackson. That name kept popping up over and over again. Andrew's fingers stayed glued to the phone screen. The call logs between Catherine and David had been showing up for the past few months. Any time of the day, morning, noon, night, they were talking. Some calls were 40 minutes, some more than 1 hour long. His heart began to beat faster. But it wasn't just calls. He decided to go deeper. He sat on his old laptop and used some of the tools he used for medical research. After a little investigation, she found some messages that Catherine had made with some of her contacts saved under the name of friends. "Same hotel tonight? The touch of your hand still drives me crazy. Andrew didn't suspect anything. We're safe." Every word was hammering in his mind. Catherine was lying. She didn't just have to make fun of her. Yeah, she was cheating. And that too in my own house, with my own son's coach. A wave of anger swelled up inside him. He recalled the last 20 years of his marriage, the sacrifices he made for Catherine, the decisions he made in his career for her happiness, and the love that had now become a joke. But he didn't say anything yet. No. He was not going to take any step without thinking. "I will keep an eye on his every move, and when the right time comes, I will take such revenge that he will remember it for the rest of his life." The next morning, Andrew got up early. He cloned Catherine's phone. Now he had access to all of Catherine's messages, locations, and calls. And within hours, she got another big piece of proof: a hotel booking confirmation. Blue Moon Hotel, 7 p.m. It was the same hotel where Andrew and Catherine used to go for their anniversaries. Everything was clear now. Catherine was fooling him, and something big was about to happen tonight. Andrew looked at his son, Jason, who was getting ready for the morning. A thought came to his mind. If I tell it right now, Jason will probably break down. No, not yet. Now is not the right time. He took a deep breath and kept himself calm. At 7 p.m., He was sitting in his car outside the Blue Moon Hotel. His eyes were fixed on the main entrance of the hotel. At exactly 7:10 p.m., Catherine appeared to be walking in. A few minutes later, David Jackson also entered. It wasn't just doubt. It was truth. Andrew turned on the camera on his phone and entered the hotel. Andrew stepped into the hotel lobby, anger running through his veins, but his face was expressionless. He knew that haste would achieve nothing in this battle. Catherine and David Jackson were now inside the hotel, and Andrew wanted evidence. Hard evidence to punish his wife for her infidelity. He walked towards the reception counter and asked with a smile, "There used to be a special service at the Blue Moon Hotel where couples had an exclusive recording option, right?" The receptionist hesitated a bit, but then responded, "Our presidential suite has this feature, but it is only turned on at the guest's request." Andrew took out some notes from his wallet and put them on the counter. "I think you can do this little thing for me, right?" The receptionist quickly typed something on the computer screen and then said, "All right, sir. Room 1407's live feed can now be accessed on your phone." Andrew gave a slight smile and went to the corner of the lobby and logged on his phone. As soon as the camera was turned on, his breath stopped. Catherine and David Jackson were sitting close to each other, laughing, talking, and slowly approaching. This was the woman who made me a joke in front of the world. And this was the man I thought was my son's mentor. Now Andrew had no doubts. It wasn't just an affair. It was a conspiracy. Catherine laughed and said, "You know what, David? Andrew doesn't know anything yet. He's stupid. He thinks I love him." David smiled. "And what would he do if he did? He wouldn't dare to leave you." Andrew's blood boiled. Now it was time for him to play his next bet in this game. He made his move towards his car parked outside the hotel, but he was not going to leave empty-handed. He didn't just want to catch his wife red-handed, he wanted to expose her to the whole world. He devised a plan that would expose Catherine's infidelity, and she would never be able to forgive herself. There was only one thing left, the right time to take the next step. Andrew turned on the live feed recording of the hotel room on his phone and quickly left. Now he was not just a mute spectator in this game. Now he was going to become the mastermind of this game himself. He got in his car and drove straight to his old friend Max Taylor's house. Max was an investigative journalist and had the power to make public anything that could cause an uproar in society. Max opened the door, and as soon as he saw Andrew's face, he understood that the matter was serious. "What happened, brother?" he asked worriedly. Andrew didn't make any appearances. He just played the video clip directly on his phone. Catherine and David were in the room, cradling each other in arms, talking, laughing. Max watched the video and slowly his eyebrows shrugged. "Oh my God, Andrew. That's your wife. And this David Jackson? Your son is playing under the guidance of this man, isn't he?" Andrew took a deep breath. "Yes, and now I want it all to come out to the world. I want to show it to my son, my friends, my family, and every human being that Catherine and David have betrayed." Max thought for a while and then smiled. "Then why not show it for Thanksgiving dinner?" A flash of lightning flashed through Andrew's mind. It was perfect. Catherine had humiliated him in front of everyone. Now it was his turn, but this time he was going to embarrass him in front of the whole world, not just with words, but with concrete evidence. The day of Thanksgiving came. Andrew had a lavish dinner party at his home, where many of his guests, including his relatives, friends, and Jason's coach, had come. Catherine was greeting everyone with her false mask, as if she were still Andrew's wife. She didn't know how horrible the night was going to be for her. "This year, I'm going to have a special surprise for the people who have played an important role in my life." As soon as he turned on screen sharing from his phone, the recording of the hotel room started playing on the TV screen. Catherine and David's shameful actions were revealed to everyone. There was complete silence in the room. Catherine's face turned white. David's breath stuck. Jason, who was standing close to his mother, had tears in his eyes. Catherine quickly tried to turn off the screen by picking up the remote, but Andrew grabbed her hand. No excuses now, Catherine. Now everyone knows the truth. There was silence in the room. Everyone was trying to come out of the shock of the infidelity pictures and videos they saw on the TV screen. Catherine's breathing quickened. Her face had lost color. David retreated, as if he was looking for an escape. Andrew, all of it. It's all a lie, said Catherine in a faltering voice, her lips dry. Andrew looked at her coldly and let out a faint laugh. Lies? The camera never lies, Catherine. Jason, who didn't yet understand anything, was staring at his mother. Her eyes were full of anger and tears. Mom, what is this? You and Uncle David? Catherine tried to say something, but no word came out. David understood that he could no longer stay in this room. He quickly got up and walked toward the door, but Andrew was already ready. Sit down, David, was a cold order in Andrew's voice. David froze. Andrew looked at the guests and said, You know what a person does when he breaks down? Either he endures it all, or fight for your honor. And today, I have decided to fight for my honor. Everyone was now paying attention to Andrew. He was no longer just a betrayed husband. He was a warrior fighting for his honor. Catherine, I always thought our marriage hinged on love, but today I realized it was just a sham. You broke my trust, my honor, my family, everything. Catherine had tears in her eyes. She begged, Andrew, please. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were going to take it so seriously. Andrew took a deep breath and looked up at his lawyer, who was sitting quietly by the dining table. I don't want revenge on anyone. I want justice, Andrew said. He gestured to his lawyer and took out the divorce papers and placed them in front of Catherine. That's all I've got left for you, Catherine. Make one last sign, and then our paths of life will fall apart. Catherine picked up the papers with trembling hands, her eyes full of remorse. But now it was too late. Catherine's hands were trembling as she picked up the divorce papers. The eyes of the whole room were now on him. She used to show herself as an ideal wife in society, but now her real truth was exposed in front of everyone. Andrew, it's very harsh, she said in a low voice, but there was a twinkle in her eyes. Andrew replied without blinking. Tough? No, Catherine. What you did was harsh. Humiliated me in front of the world, betrayed our son, and made fun of me with my closest friend. It was harsh. David, who had been silent until now, was trying to retreat slowly, but Andrew stopped him right there. And you, David? What did you think? That you will steal and not get caught? David cleared his throat but couldn't find the words. Look, Andrew, he tried to avoid. It was just a mistake. It was no big deal. Andrew nodded with a light laugh. No big deal? That was all there was to me, David. But it was just a mistake for you? He took another folder out of his pocket and slammed it in front of David. I knew you were playing not just with my wife, but also with my company. Look at this. You tried to steal my company's clients. And now my lawyer has prepared all the papers. You're going to lose not only my family, but also your career. Blood had come out of David's face. Tears fell from Catherine's eyes. He looked at Jason, who had so far relied on his mother. Son, forgive me, she said softly. But Jason bowed his head and backed off. I don't think so, Mother, he said in a low but stern voice. You have ruined our family. And now I just want to go with Dad. Catherine was heartbroken. Andrew, please, give me a chance, she pleaded. But Andrew replied coldly, All your chances are gone, Catherine. Then she picked up the divorce papers and pointed to her lawyer. Now all this will be dealt with legally. I'm going with my son. Your real punishment is that you will be alone with what you have done. Catherine understood her defeat. He signed the papers with trembling hands. Now the game was over. As soon as Catherine signed the divorce papers, the whole room was stunned for a moment. The woman who once stood proudly by her husband felt the most humiliated today. His hands were still shaking, but he knew there was no way back. David was still looking at the papers with disbelief. He had plotted such a big conspiracy, but now he himself was trapped. "Andrew, look, I apologize," he said in a low voice. "Sorry?" Andrew said with a sharp laugh. "Do you think a few words will make things better?" He turned to the guests, whose faces still showed astonishment and disbelief. "Today, I just didn't see my family's betrayal." Andrew's voice had a coldness. "In fact, I also saw how greedy and selfish people can be." Catherine's whole world changed in the next few days. He lost his home. The court gave Jason's custody to Andrew. Society started seeing her as an unfaithful woman. She was with David for the first few weeks, but then David's fate was no better. Andrew's company took legal action against him, and he lost his career. His bank accounts were frozen, and he was booked for fraud. He fled the city quietly one night without telling Catherine. Catherine was now alone. Andrew and Jason began a new life. They changed town and moved into a new house. Jason saw his father stronger than ever and learned a lot from him. Andrew took his business to even greater heights. But most notably, they were now in a life where there was no betrayal, no lies, just solace and self-respect. Do you think Andrew did it right? Should Catherine have been given a second chance? Let us know your opinion in the comments.